Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days. For today's second video, day 10 will take us to 22nd of November. And we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the excellent GFS and ECM ensembles, maybe on a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at CFS V2 for the next 4 weeks at the end of the video. Gets us into the first half of December. And I shall get on that for you in a moment, just to say about the first. The video says our 6am UK weather forecast. We've got a 12Z model roundup coming for you this evening, so we're going to go through all of the 12Z model runs and see what they're all showing. That'll be coming up between around 7 and half 7 this evening. Little bonus video. Please like, share, subscribe on all today's videos and content. Thank you so much everyone for doing that for GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much. Right, just say that we're sold out now on the calendar. The GavsWeatherVids 2025 calendar is sold out. We've sold 50 in total, so 2 batches of 25, and the response has been absolutely overwhelming and unbelievable. So thank you so much to all of you, for embracing this project, all of you that brought the calendar, helping to support the channel. That is absolutely awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. And all of you who submitted photos and pictures excuse me, all of you who submitted photos and pictures to be included in the calendar, whether they were included or not, I just thank you all so very much for doing that. We will be getting a 2026 calendar. I can tell you that planning is already in the works of that, as me, James, and Almost Like a Boss had such fun working on this project. So when we get to about, probably about July, August time next year, we will be planning out our 2026 calendar. But thank you so much to each and every one of you. I love it. Love it. What an amazing project to work on. I'm going to give a shout out to Elaine Thomas. Thank you so much to Elaine for sending a donation to GavsWeatherVids, and a lovely little note as well. I'm doing fine, thanks Elaine. But thank you so much for your donation. Very, very kind, very, very generous of you to do that. If you would like to send a donation to GavsWeatherVids and get a shout out in the video, then all you do is go to the GavsWeatherVids PayPal page, send any amount of money that you want, any donation, and we'll give you a shout out as long as you want. Well, if you don't, then we'll just thank Anonymous, and that's no problem. But thank you so much to all of you for your support, and a special thank you to Elaine. Nice to see you back on the channel, Elaine. Right, we're going to start off in the Caribbean, well, south of the Caribbean, really, with this orange X just here. That is disturbance 1, and there's an 80% chance of cyclone formation with that in the next 7 days. A tropical wave over Central Caribbean Sea is producing an area of disorganised showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions appear conducive for development, and a tropical depression is likely to form by the end of the week as the system moves slowly westwards into the Western Caribbean Sea. Afterward, the disturbance is expected to meander over the Western Caribbean Sea through the weekend and begins moving slowly, generally northwestwards by early next week. Interest across the Western Caribbean Sea should monitor the progress of this system. Will this be the one that gets us to a hyperactive hurricane season? Will this be the one that tips us over the edge into a hyperactive hurricane season for accumulated cyclone energy? I wonder. We'll be keeping you updated. Central England temperature is now sitting at 9.6. That is 3.2 degrees above 61 to 99 average. It is provisional to yesterday, to the 11th of November. That is gradually and slowly ticking down. Means of a GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. When it leaves today, red line, 30-year upper air temperature average will leave. We're starting off above average with the upper air temperature at the moment. They're going to start coming down by the weekend, and pretty good agreement now within the GFS ensembles anyway, of quite a protracted spell of colder than average weather through the third week of November. We do see the upper air temperatures lifting up until the last week of the month, but of course that's a long way off. It's therefore extended range and unreliable. Precipitation-wise, lots of dry weather to come over the next few days as well, up to the weekend. I bet it's gradually going to start getting a bit more unsettled as we go through into next week. So, with the upper air temperatures doing a bit of a plunge and probably precipitation around, we have to start thinking, I guess, about the possibility of some snow. And snow row on the GFS 6Z looks like that for these. Pretty encouraging for anyone who wants some sort of white stuff in the third week of November. We do see quite a few snow spikes there and some quite large snow spikes as well, it has to be said. So some places could come away with a covering of snow from this. Let's have a look at Birmingham. And again, there we see a quite encouraging number of snow spikes between about the 18th and the 24th of November. And what about London? Even in London, we see quite a few snow spikes as well. So it is certainly not impossible that next week we will be having to do snow watch, and at some places we'll be getting snow out of this. Sounds like my voice is gonna go. Right, well, let's have a look at the ECM ensemble, though. Can do that for you as well. So yesterday the ECM was wobbling about a lot, but it looks like today, on this cold spell, it looks like today the ECM is firming up now on some colder conditions again through the third week of November. So starting off mild, similar to what the GFS is showing, and then seeing the upper air temperatures plunging. Maybe not quite as good agreement as the GFS ensemble, but nevertheless, I think that's a fairly encouraging ensemble graph if you want it to be turning colder next week. Right, let's move on. Temperature anomaly is from the 12th to 20th of November. About average, not a particularly big deviation either way, to be honest. And precipitation anomalies from the 12th to 20th of November. Western average for England and Wales, dry and average for southern parts of Scotland. The latest wind map from earth.nullschool.net shows that we are under high pressure today, so high pressure dominating the weather. We are bringing around that bit of a northeasterly flow into the south and the east, so that has increased the cloud a little bit in the southeast again, unfortunately. But not as gloomy as it was last week. Right, let's start going through the chart data then. This latest UK Met Euro is looking the big night on Friday. High pressure still dominating the weather into the weekend. The high pressure pulls out into the Atlantic. A cold front starts to come southwards, and behind it we begin to introduce colder air from the north. So by the time we get through to the beginning of next week, it's midnight on Monday, winds are in from the north. We follow the isobars back. The air is originating from the Arctic and from the North Pole, plunging down western side of Europe, bringing cold conditions with it. And as we get to the end of UK Met Euro, takes us to midnight on Tuesday, 19th of November, looking cold and wintry. There's a developing area of low pressure along this elongation in the isobars. We will have to wait and see what becomes of that, where it goes. It could start moving in that direction, coming into that cold air coming down from north. If it did, then we'd have all sorts of fun again. So this is a blocking area of high pressure around Greenland up to 1,050 millibars. Right, icon again. High pressure is in control and in the ascendancy on Friday, and pulling out into the Atlantic through the weekend. Winds turning into a colder northerly over the weekend. Into the beginning of next week, well, it looks like there's some sort of trough of low pressure developing around the country within that cold air, Sunday to Monday, so that could give some wintry risks and wintry possibilities. And then this low starts developing down to the southwest, moving into that cold air. So there's a warm sector of that. Remember, anywhere that's in the yellow just here, it will only rain when the upper air temperature is above 0 degrees at 850 HPA. It will only rain if it's between 0 and -5. So like this area just here, it can snow depending on other parameters such as the dew points. Well, anyway, that area of low pressure becomes quite a significant feature through Tuesday across the southwest approaches. Big warm sector that pushes northwards in across England and Wales. So the snow risk with that is probably going to be through Wales and the Midlands initially, then back to rain there, and snow risk particularly for Northern Ireland, Southern Scotland and Northern England with that area of low pressure, I would have thought. Still very blocked up to to 180 hours, big blocking area of high pressure over Greenland and Iceland. And as that low pressure probably exits out into the North Sea, we should bring the wind back around to the north again. KMA looking like that. So once more, we've got northerly winds plunging in over the weekend, looking cold and wintry start of next week. Then this area of low pressure coming up from the southwest early next week. Now that's better for snow, like for Wales and the Midlands. Might bring rain to the far south, but like anywhere north of the M4 would get quite a significant snow event with that area of low pressure. Really significant channel low there. So that would be quite exciting for the early part of next week. Some places like Wales, the Midlands, East Anglia will potentially get a lot of snow out of that. And even in the south, after perhaps a bit of rain, there'll probably be the risk of snow later on as well. Goodness gracious. And then we just keep it cold. Another low pressure dies down into the Bay of Biscay, and that helps to enforce. Is it enforce or enforce? It's enforce, isn't it? It's north or northeasterly. So the whole of next week looking cold and wintry with the KMA. Sorry once more, when it looks like eventually we're starting to roll some slightly less cold air in over top of the ridge there by the 24th of November, so possibly hinting at the weather becoming milder into the final week of November there, we'll see. But GFS midnight run again with high pressure over and to the west of the country on Friday, heading on into the weekend. Trough of low pressure plunging southwards and turns wind into a cold northerly through the course of the weekend. So early next week looking quite cold and wintry. Then we have this area of low pressure just here. So again, that's bringing a risk of heavy rain in the south, but could be snow on the northern edge. The low pressure and zips off into Denmark. Wind switcheroo into the north again. So the middle of next week, big old northerly blast going on and cold air returning back southwards. Another low then trying to come up from southwest approaches later next week, backwards further south. The risk of snow with that one would be through Wales, the Midlands and East Anglia. Probably rain down in the south where we have that warmer sector. All sorts of snow potential possibilities for next week with GFS midnight run. Eventually, that low pressure goes off to Denmark. By the end of next week, winds are back in from the north again. A prolonged cold spell lasting throughout the whole of next week. Then things start to turn milder as we go through into the final weekend of November. Low pressure begins to come back in from the southwest. And we end with GFS midnight run looking actually quite mild with high pressure south, low pressure north, and bringing up wind from the southwest. This is a precipitation forecast based on that GFS midnight run from the Weather Outlook. Check this out. The wintry showers start across Scotland on Saturday. Outbreaks of rain elsewhere, some of it quite heavy across parts of England and Wales. Then we're into those northerly winds by the end of the weekend. They're bringing wintry showers into the north and west. In particular, then that area of low pressure coming in on Monday, bringing heavy snow through Ireland, North Wales, Northern England and North Midlands. Very wet, heavy rain to the south of it. Snow event, in fact, particularly through Northern England, Wales and into the North Midlands there. That low gets out of the way, then we're back into those cold northern winds and another low coming up from the southwest. This one bringing significant snow event through Thursday next week across Wales, the Midlands and East Anglia. Very wet in the extreme south with that and southeast, but lots of snow, real snow event through like the Midlands in particular, and also central southern parts of England. So imagine if that came off, blimey. Well, that gets out of the way, and we're left with these wintry showers packing in to the north and the west. I mean, it starts turning milder then as we go into the last week of November. Any precipitation is falling as rain. This other GFS 6Z is looking by comparison. So again, we've got wind turning into the north over the weekend, northerly push, and then low pressure comes into that northerly. So below is a bit further north again, which GFS 6 said brings rain for most of England and Wales. Snow will be for northern England and into southern Scotland, probably Northern Ireland with that. These lows do tend to get, in a block situation, do tend to get trending further southwards though. So it's worth keeping an eye on what happens with that area of low pressure through the early part of next week. Regardless, winds go back into the north again through the middle part of the week, and then that next low moving through the channel could bring fun gains to the south later next week. The whole next week is cold and wintry, really winds in from the north, and then it starts turning milder through the last weekend of November. Before the closing days of the month, though, go colder again, and high pressure starts reaching in through the northwest Europe. And that high pressure looks like it's having a go then up towards Scandinavia. So that would keep things cold and frosty anyway through the north and the west of Europe in the closing days of the month. A long way out, though, of course. This is a precipitation forecast based on that GFS 6 run. Quickly go through this one again. It's coming from 2. Once more, we see plenty of rain across the country into the weekend and increased risk of snow up in the north as well. Very wet for most of England and Wales late Monday, but heavy snow for Northern Ireland, the far north of England, and into southern parts of Scotland. That low gets out of the way, we're left with wintry showers, and then more snow into the south bend Wednesday into Thursday. Further south with the low, which means that even in far southern and southeastern regions, we're getting a big snow event there through the latter stages of next week. Followed by wintry showers packing back into the northwest on those northern winds. Then we're going mostly dry after that and milder, with the precipitation turning back to rain. If you're enjoying the video, please do like, share and subscribe. So everyone for doing that. Why not drop a comment? Let's know think about this and all of our videos and content. Don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. Get them to subscribe too. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. We are on the cusp of 19,000 subscribers. So if you could give us a sub, that would be absolutely awesome. So much for doing that. GM, again, high pressure in control on Friday into the weekend. High pressure out into the Atlantic. Winds switching around into the north, becoming colder over the weekend. And staying cold into next week. Then we've got this low coming up from southwest approaching through Tuesday. That's a bit further southwards with the GM, so it brings heavy rain into south. Could be some snow through Wales, Midlands, northern England, with that low, and then that next low is further southwards as well with the GM. That's heading into France through Thursday, not really impacting us. We just keep it cold with winds in from the north throughout most of next week. That's a setup at day 10, which is the 22nd of November, looking pretty cold. And then finally, the ECM rounds it all up. Remember, ECM was wobbling big time yesterday. Let's see what's showing today. So high pressure pulls out into the Atlantic, low pressure digging in from the north through the weekend. Again, we ECM take a bit longer to get us into those northerlies, but does eventually get there now. So through the early part of next week, wind switches into the north, it becomes colder, and then we got this low meandering in from the west as well. That could bring wintry possibilities in with it, as I've got -5 cells iceberg down towards the south. Staying cold and wintry with the ECM through to day 10, which is the 22nd of November there. So the ECM has definitely shifted in the colder direction today. This is a precipitation forecast based on the ECM run from Meteo.com. Once more, seeing a lot of dry weather over the next few days. But over the weekend, it starts to turn showery with outbreaks of rain. Then becoming colder as well, with shower turning to snow up in the north, even chance of a little bit of wintriness down in the south. That's how we look at day 10. Wintry shower particularly draped around the coast. Not as much snow at the ECM compared to like the GFS, for example. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10 from the Icelandic Met Office. Gets us to the 22nd of November. 24 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure throughout the west of Europe. High pressure out in the Atlantic. That's a cold trough of low, looking pretty wintry. Got 15 again with high pressure in the Atlantic up to Greenland. Low pressure over to the east country. Winds coming in from cold north or northeasterly direction. And 12 with high pressure again around Greenland, Iceland. Low pressure to the east. Winds coming in from a cold northerly direction. All options looking cold and quite wintry at day 10. And then in 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. Gets us to the 27th of November. 13 members. The ECM ensembles with low pressure east, high pressure ridging in the Atlantic, and winds coming in from a cold northerly direction. We've got 12 with low pressure to the north and bringing the wind from the west. We've got 7 low pressure north, high pressure to the south. That's a westerly flow, milder as well. Another 7 just here with low pressure over to the east country. That keeps the cold, wintry conditions going. 6 with a Scandinavian high. GFS 6Z hints at that, of course. Potentially bring the wind around to the east. And another 6 with high pressure blocking around Greenland, Iceland. And that will bring the wind in from a cold northeasterly direction. So all options looking cold and wintry at day 10. And at 2 weeks out, there's a range of possibilities, really. All options are on the table. There is the chance that we could keep things cold into the closing stages of the month. I think probably the most likely outcome is to turn things milder into that last week of the month. But it isn't, you see from the ensemble options bear from clusters, it's not, not a done deal that that's going to happen. Right, CFS V2, finally, these are 500 millibar height allowance, bring down to week periods. The first week period takes us to the 18th of November, next week with high pressure to the northwest, winds coming in from a colder easterly type direction, or northeasterly direction. Week 2 is going to be the 19th to 25th of November. Below average heights, low pressure through the northwest Europe combined with blocking in the Atlantic. That looks cold and wintry. Winds coming in from the north or from the northeast. Week 3 sees a change. It's the 26th of November, 2nd of December. High pressure down to south, low pressure to the north. Winds beginning to move back round to a southwesterly direction, turning milder. And then week 4, it's the 3rd to the 9th of December with high pressure towards Spain and Portugal, low pressure around Greenland, Iceland, winds coming in from a westerly direction. That is a mild and relatively dryish looking scenario through that at week 4 period through the first week to 10 days of December. A long way off though, that, so we'll see. We've got enough to be going on with for the next week, I think. Okay, we're done. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks so much everyone for doing that. Drop a comment. Let's know what you think about this and all of our videos and content. Don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. Get them to subscribe to. We're so close to 19k now. It's unbelievable. Thank you so much. Right, we've got the 12Z model roundup coming up to you this evening. We'll go through just the model output, see what they're all showing, and that's going to be an interesting watch between 7, half 7 this evening. Tomorrow, we're going to have 6 AM UK weather forecast. We'll have the extended European outlook. We will be live at 6 PM. We take the 40 there. I reckon that live stream will have a lot of interest. Just a hunch. And then straight after that, we'll have the next installment of Christmas Countdown. So another big old day to come at GavsWeatherVids tomorrow. But for this video, that's all for now. I'll see you a little bit later on this evening. But for this one, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.